It would not be an overstatement to say that the internet has taken over our daily lives. Most information you need can be found with a quick search, and you're able to contact whoever you want with a couple taps on your phone. The internet has introduced things like social media and AI, and has also provided alternative and in some cases improved versions of entertainment such as gambling, gaming, movies, etc. There are many more things that I haven't mentioned, but the point is that the internet has undoubtedly improved our lives in a lot of ways. However, because of all the amazing things the internet provides, the negative effects of our behaviors and physical health are at times overshadowed. It's true that researchers are doing their best to make new discoveries about negative effects, but it's difficult to confirm certain findings and convince the general public to be cautious. As the internet becomes more prevalent, it becomes easier and easier to ignore warnings and become addicted to the internet. Most psychologists will acknowledge that internet addiction is a problem and that it should be classified as a behavioral disorder, but internet addiction has not been added to the DSM 5 due to all the disagreements about the specific criteria required to diagnose. The DSM 5 is a book of all psychological disorders and their symptoms, just to clarify. Although internet addiction isn't included in the DSM 5, according to the book Behavioral Addictions Criteria, Evidence, and Treatment, internet addiction disorder is characterized by excessive or poorly controlled preoccupations, urges, or behaviors regarding computer use and internet access that leads to impairment or distress. You may be thinking this definition seems pretty vague, and it is because of the fact that psychologists have differing opinions on internet addiction. However, most people have an idea of what addiction is, so it's not important to dwell on the very specific details of defining internet addiction. Usually in studies, psychologists will measure internet addiction by using a scale consisting of questions that have been carefully chosen to identify it. Psychologists have been and continue to create studies that analyze the relationship between internet addiction and negative effects such as behavioral or psychological disorders. Most notable are depression, anxiety, and ADHD. However, there are many more. A systematic review on different internet addiction studies found that out of 20 articles, 75% found a significant relationship between internet addiction and depression, 57% found a significant relationship between internet addiction and anxiety, and 100% found a significant relationship between internet addiction and ADHD. Because of this finding, I wanted to look into why internet addiction and ADHD have such a significant correlation. All studies included in my research found a correlation between these two disorders, which further confirm the strength of this correlation. In psychology specifically, causation claims are difficult to make because it requires lots of evidence and there are many limitations in research. However, I also found that while causation claims weren't made, the researchers seemed to support one side of the possible causation between internet addiction and ADHD. Some researchers propose the idea that those with ADHD are more likely to get addicted to the internet because of the symptoms associated with ADHD, and others introduce the possibility that internet addiction can lead to symptoms of ADHD because using the internet affects brain development and requires constant shift of focus. One researcher that supported the latter challenged ADHD as a whole because ADHD is known to be solely genetic. He offered the idea that our environment, specifically use of the internet, can cause symptoms that fit the criteria of ADHD, and therefore ADHD might be able to be caused by things other than genetics. His idea suggests that there might be two separate types of ADHD, childhood and adulthood. Childhood ADHD being a result of genetics, and adulthood ADHD being a result of the environment. When considering this idea and all the other researchers' conclusions about their studies, I came to the personal conclusion that the causation between ADHD and internet addiction can go both ways. Results from studies lead to both ways of causation being a logical probability. Therefore, although this causation isn't confirmed, I think it is safe to say that everyone, especially those with ADHD, need to be careful when interacting on the internet. Parents of children with ADHD need to be extra vigilant about how often their child is using the internet and what they're using the internet for. However, even if you are someone who doesn't have ADHD, you should be aware of the fact that the internet can affect the way your brain works. It is important to do tasks that require sustained focus and make sure you are limiting how much you use the internet. If you become addicted to the internet, make sure you seek help and support before it's too late. We all owe it to ourselves to take care of our mental health. An addiction to the internet can lead to potential irreversible issues.